In the spring of 1967, I was stationed at Phu Loi, Vietnam, and I received a interesting letter from my mother. And a little background on my mother. My mother was a psychic. She read cards for people, and she had dreams that foretold things every once in a while. And so when she shared a dream in a letter, I took it kind of serious. I looked at it as, well, it's a possibility. And she started off this letter saying that she had a dream that night, uh, and she dreamt about me being in Vietnam. And she had two different dreams. And the first dream, she felt that her eyes, her vision, or what she was looking at was right from my seat where I was sitting in the helicopter as it was going along a treetop level and firing my machine gun, and there was tracers going out into the tree line. And then as this helicopter was approaching the LZ, um, it was on fire on the right side, my side where I was sitting with my M60 machine gun. And she saw me firing into that tree line where the fire was at and smoke. And she saw tracers coming back at the helicopter. She saw men sitting on canvas seats and sitting on the floor of the helicopter. She saw it quickly drop down on the ground and everybody immediately evacuating it. And she recounted that she saw a guy with a machine gun. She didn't know what it was exactly, but a machine gun, and a guy following him with the ammo and heading towards the where the firing was coming from. She went into great details on other things from the LC. And I read that and I shared it with a couple of friends. And that was like when she was writing that letter, which was, I think, 14 hours difference between Vietnam and California. Uh, that was pretty much when we were in the LZ. And it was exactly as she described. There was a fire. I was carrying a machine gunner and he jumped out, and the guy with the ammo was behind him a little distance, trying to catch up with him. And the tree line, we were getting a machine gun and automatic fire coming back at us. So my friends read it. We all read it. We're going, well, okay, maybe she's watching television, but it made perfect sense to me. And then I shared the second dream. And this is where I kind of lost some of them. The second dream, she said she had no idea how it fit in with me or relationship to where I was at and what was happening. But the other dream, she said it was kind of like on the TV show Gunsmoke, which was an old TV Western in the 1950s and 60s, where it starts off with two gunslingers, Matt Dillon at one end, the marshal, and the other end, some bad guy, and they draw guns and they shoot each other. That's what she saw. She saw two army guys, and they were pulling weapons on each other, shooting each other at a pretty good distance down a dirt street in a little tiny town, hamlet, village. She didn't know exactly what it was, but it wasn't very big. It was basically a street, a few bars. And when I read that to my friends, they all kind of laughed and thought, yeah, okay, fine. So I said, no, no. If my mother dreamt this, and she said in the letter that it hadn't happened yet, that it will happen. I said, if we go down there, now that we know this, if we go down there, we will see this. It will happen. And so that afternoon, we got a pass. We got a pass for 3 hours, whatever it was, to go downtown Phu Loi in the afternoon to have a couple beers. These guys went down to laugh at me when I'm proven wrong. And but they went into the bar and I sat outside waiting, watching the street for something to happen. And it was just about time to go back at 3 hours, just about up, nothing's happened. But I'm believing it's going to happen. I go in the bar to see what they're doing. And just as I go inside the bar, we hear these gunshots, two gunshots, bang, bang, different ends of the street. Everybody else is running for cover, but me and my friends, we're running outside the bar to see what happened. And there we see two staggering GIs at each end of the street, drunk, who had fired at each other. They had some kind of handguns and holsters, and they actually missed each other. But it was just as my mother described. It was on a dirt road in front of a bunch of bars, and they shot at each other. Nobody was injured. Nobody was hurt. And my friends looked at me. Nobody said a word. We all got back into the half ton back of it and drove back to the base camp. But that was one of the dreams my mother had when I was in Vietnam. And I shared that when I was there. And either my mother was a very lucky guesser with a great imagination, or she was really tuned into something. I believe that she was tuned into something. And anyway, I shared this in my book, Warrior, and I'm sharing it now on this video. I thought others might want to hear what happened.